everybody. Today is July 31st, 2024, and you are here with us, Bruins Tape to Tape. My name is Caroline. I'm your host this evening with my fabulous regular co-host, Maria from Watertown. Say hi, Maria.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be talking hockey. We're inching ever so close to development camp, training camp. So, yeah, the best time of the year is on its way.
Yeah. And technically today we've decided that this is our Happy New Year. So we are calling it now official season 2. And so to help us celebrate our second birthday, if you will, we've brought in one of our favorite guests, the one half of our Too Many Men podcast spinoff friends. Say hi, everyone, to Mo. Welcome in,
That's
Momo.
me. Hello. Thanks for having me again.
Well, thanks for being a good sport and joining us in our crazy hockey talk world here.
Anytime. You guys know that.
Yeah. We're excited as well for our second season because we have officially joined the Hockey Podcast Network. So you'll see our logo on their website. We'll make sure to include the website and all their info in our show notes. So you might see some new things if you're watching on YouTube and see some new logos and things like that. So we're super excited to be growing and hopefully can continue to spread our love of the Boston Bruins and our very interesting opinions on all things bees. So let's do this.
Let's start our new season off with a bang. And I just want to thank the network for giving us this opportunity to grow our podcast and to also help them grow their network in a positive direction with all the hockey talk that we can manage. So thank you to all those involved.
Yeah. So today's episode, we're going to be doing a quick player close-up of Elias Lindholm. So what we're going to do is talk about some of his basic stats to help you be a little bit more informed as we go into training camp and the season and some of the things that we are interested in when it comes to him. But before we do, we're just going to share a word from our sponsors. Ooh. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? Maybe you never skip leg day or therapy day. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. My weekly therapy appointment empowers me to be the best version of myself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day again with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. Know the beautiful thing about being a sports fan? There's only like 2 days the whole year without a game. 2. With so much happening and so much action, that makes just about every day game day at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It really couldn't be any easier, any simpler. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in West Virginia visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See term and responsible gaming resources at dkng.co/base. All right, so let's dive in. Who is Elias Lindholm? So he's coming to us. There you can see his fabulous stats. So he's a centerman. And actually last season he played for two teams. He stayed in Canada though. He started off in Calgary and then was traded at the deadline to Vancouver, which I believe we had discussed at one point, wondering if he was going to be coming our way in March, but obviously that didn't happen. He played 75 games last year. He had 15 goals, 29 assists with 44 points. His plus minus, not spectacular. It was a minus 14, which was just, you don't like to see that. But he had 4 game-winning goals. And quite frankly, I don't blame him for the minus 14 because he was coming from a Calgary team that has recently been gutted. But career-wise, he's played 818 games, 218 goals, 339 assists, 557 points, with a plus 15 plus minus. So he had probably his worst plus minus when he was out in Carolina, which was another team that he actually played for 5 years with. So this other Lindholm, we're gonna have to figure out how to separate,
distinguish,
the Lindholm.
right?
I don't, because they were also born literally in the same year, in 1994. So he's 29 years old, a Swede. And I'm excited because he has a pretty good face-off win percentage. His career face-off win percentage is 53.5%. And even last year, in spite of a little bit of an underperforming year, he was at 58.7%. So considering that, for me, when I found out that we had this guy coming, I was very excited because I think he is the centerman that we have all been talking about and looking for a long time. And so I'm going to show you guys a little clip of exactly why I think that.
Best throws one. Carolina sticking over top of the goal. Here's Pedersen back to Hughes. Carolina again very aggressive, the penalty kick. Hughes, long wrist shot, tipped in, Lindholm. And he is the 65th to do it, as Elias Lindholm reached up and pulled that one back past Kochetkov, and the Canucks have tied the game and won. The former Carolina Hurricane haunts his team, his old team that is, as there was a chance earlier on the power play near the front of the net. Deflection doesn't get through, but this one does. Hughes is looking for the body at the front of the net. That's Lindholm. And this was going wide. He deflects it back and past the blocker of Kochetkov. It's got to be a great feat.
In
You
the
love to
bumper.
see a lot of aspects there, don't you?
I love what I see. Love it. I love it. So tell me.
A little Bergeron looking there. Well, people know, and I'm not comparing, but it does bring back some memories of
Mhm.
things that we perhaps had been missing this past season, even as successful as the Bruins were this season. I, frankly, am excited to see what he can do alongside potentially David Pastrnak and Pavel Zacha
Mhm.
on the other wing. Because, and again, I don't know a lot about this player's game because, again, we didn't have the opportunity to see him. We only know what we've heard, and the fact that the Bruins have been wanting to get their hands on this player for, a couple of seasons now. He brings some size, he brings some strength, and I think that would be extremely beneficial to David Pastrnak to enable him to do what he can do instinctively, which is put the puck in the net and put the puck in the net a lot.
Mhm.
Right. And if you look back a couple years ago, he was second in Selke voting behind Bergeron. He was a plus 61, which is pretty good. And so you're not losing anything defensively while you're still gaining some offensive potential, right? And the nice thing, Caroline, that you said is he's pretty much like a face-off dynamo. I mean, what? He is career 53%, last year 56, 58% face-offs. You couple that with all of those offensive zone face-offs where Pasta seems to appreciate kind of those scripted face-offs, where that's the name of the game. If you're going to win, you have to win the offensive zone face-offs. You have to put the puck in the net. And I think all of this is what we've been kind of begging for, at least for a year, is we need a number one bona fide center, and Lindholm is that guy. It'll be curious to see how he meshes with Zaka and Pasta and how they, what their offensive strategy is. So it'll be fun to watch, but I think for sure he'll definitely help 5-on-5 and hopefully power play too, which is again something that Boston kind of suffered last year, especially in the playoffs.
It was putrid. Let's call it what
Yeah,
it was. It was putrid, and hopefully he can help develop some quicker movement
Mhm.
on power play. Do we think that he would be put in a situation with anyone other than Pastrnak? It just seems that would be the right place for him.
I don't
Elias Lindholm to.
I don't think so. I mean, otherwise you're putting. I mean, who else is your other center that's going to take that place besides Saka? I mean, you're not going to stick Coyle up there. Patra's probably not ready, and there's really no one else that I can think of. I mean, the only thought I have is Zaka going to be that first line left wing, or will they slide Marchand up and have Zaka be your second center and Coyle as your third center, and then shift Patra to the wing? Or I'm sure Monty will tinker during the regular season. And for me, the more I think about it, it's fine if he does it in the regular season.
I'm already dreading it, and we can
I
touch
know.
that
I know.
later on. But I'm already dreading that component of these new players joining the team.
Yeah, I know. But as long as they don't do it in the playoffs, I'm okay with it. But I think it's going, at least probably to start, you'll see Zaka, Lindholm, and Pasta, which makes sense. And I think it's the right thing just because with Pasta's defensive lapses, it will be nice to have Zaka and Lindholm, who should be more, defensively responsible, kind of help alleviate, the Pasta rushes or the Pasta, lapses and back checks and stuff. So I think that's kind of how it'll work.
And I give Pavel Zacha a ton of credit for that aspect of his game and the improvement that he made over the course of the season in that defensive aspect of his game, because there were some nights, man, that he was a back checking machine.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes to the detriment of displaying his offensive prowess, but
Yeah.
moment he did what he had to do from a defensive standpoint for the team. So
Yeah, I think I'm really excited, seeing that particular clip and seeing that he was, camping out in the bumper spot. One of the things that I had speculated last season, seeing kind of the inconsistency in the defensive performance, because it was a little bit of a roller coaster. I mean, there were times when they were really, really good and they were really cooking, and then other times where when things sort of started to fall apart at mid-season, and you really started to see that appear in the defense. I had speculated that, okay, that's where Bergeron was kind of hiding all manner of sins being committed by the defensive core, because he was such a defensive forward and quite literally playing 200 feet. He was centering the wings and he was centering the defensemen. And so he had the ability to go back and forth and was acting as that third defenseman and then also providing offensive power for them. And when he wasn't there and things weren't clicking, you could start to see like, oh, they didn't do that last year and the core didn't really change. What changed? Bergeron wasn't there. So I'm going to be paying really close attention to what kind of Selke player is he. He's clearly gotten really close, and that's what the Bruins are missing. They don't seem to know how to play the game without a player playing that role or playing that position in that particular way, because that's just how their defense is structured. And so I really hope that that's the kind of player he is. I mean, I like what I've seen so far. So
Yeah, it'll be
kind of play. Yeah, he's the kind of player the Bruins want. I mean, that is an inherent expectation as a forward on the Boston Bruins. You are expected to have defensive responsibilities as either a wing or a center, whatever position you're playing. So I think he appears to be aware of that based on some of the things that he has said since joining the team as a new member of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, he seems very cognizant of what the Bruins need, the legacy that was left by Bergeron, and understands that the expectation is, while he cannot be Patrice Bergeron, he needs to be the next best thing for the team to be successful in the way that they play the game. Like that, I don't see that changing anytime soon. Doesn't matter who the coach is. I don't know who sets that tone, who sets that agenda, because that goes so far deep. It goes even into Providence. So like, that's not changing. That's the game that they play, and they need the right players who can execute it well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I mean, in Bergeron, you had Hall of Fame hockey IQ and Hall of Fame like first step explosiveness, where his speed was one of his, I think, underrated aspects, where for me that was probably one of his strongest skills, was his ability to, just capture guys on a couple of steps. And it'll be interesting to see if Elias has that same, maybe not the same, but close to that. Just because, as you guys said, that's the Bruins system in their own zone. Is it feels like the two defensemen have the corners, and the center is there to kind of help out and go left and right and kind of capture that little kind of circle around the net. So I think Lindholm can do it. I don't think there's going to be an issue there of adapting to the system. It's just, can he work off of the new guys, right? Like McAvoy, and it's nice that he kind of has some history with Zadorov, so maybe he can kind of play with him, and and that should help a little bit. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see the first like quarter of the season to see how he's meshing with everybody and actually, working in his own zone and kind of seeing those defensive metrics of, high danger shots against and those kinds of things to see where exactly things are gelling and working.
You bring up a good point of gelling too. We all, as fans and quote unquote students of the game, is sometimes we expect these players to just mesh and gel right away, right? Because you say, hey, they're all professional hockey players. He plays right wing, he plays center. They should know what to do with each other. So, how long are we going to maybe want to take to see the gelling and how they build whoever he ultimately winds up centering? How long is it realistic to expect that chemistry to develop?
You took the question right out of my mouth, Maria, because one thing I wanted to point out is I was going to say the same thing. How long do we reasonably expect to wait to see if things are working and moving in the right direction? Because it was a number of years ago, I believe it was the 21-22 season, which I think was the last season that he played with Chuck and that core. And so that, as much as we don't care for him, he's a good player.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And then a lot of the players from Calgary left, right? So in that season, he played 82 games and he had 82 points, right? So we know that the potential is there. So I'm optimistic by, I don't know, a month in, I would really hope to see, at least good shifts of chemistry, right? It doesn't have to be the whole game. It doesn't have to be a point a game, but I would certainly hope that the fit is good and that he gets it and he seems to at least intellectually understand what the assignment is. So I would hope a month into the season, you're really starting to see glimpses of that. I don't know, Mo, what do you think? Am I way off base? Is that
No,
sure?
I think you're good. I was thinking like 10, 15 games, somewhere around there. And it really kind of, it depends what you mean by meshing. Is it, how many goals do you expect everybody to get? Or do you just want to see, passes and attempts and, actual chances where, you want them to score, but they don't always score. So it's just one of those things where I think a month is probably accurate. I Saka and Pasta will be fine. It's how does Lindholm fit in, and I think he'll find his niche. He's played with top end players before. He played with Gaudreau. He played with Kachuk, so he's got that ability to keep up with them. So yeah, I would say that's probably accurate. Maria, what do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking, about a month in or the 10 to 15, game. I mean, that the first month of the season is not a cakewalk for the Bruins. So, they've got games like once the season hits, almost like every other day, and not against cupcakes either. Yeah. So, I think we're going to learn a lot about the team itself, the new players, and how they're seemingly fitting in with the roles that they're being asked to play. But I think that's fair to say, like that first month. And again, I'm not saying, tear it up and be scoring and getting points every night. I'm more along the lines of, do you all seem to have an instinctiveness about where each other is going to be and what you're going to do with the puck?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those intangible or like things you can't quite define in the sense that when they're not in sync. And so, and you can kind of tell when they're like really hitting the mark, they're getting those passes, they're where they need to be. Like, it's just, you can feel it. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is the caliber of player that he is. You want to be able to see, you want to actually see that develop within that first month. So any final thoughts on our new winner?
One question. What do we think about the contract and the money? Do we have any concerns, issues?
Not for me. I thought it was about right where it needed to be. Maybe with the cap going up again next year, by all accounts, I feel like this is the right length, right term, right amount of years, and money. So no, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always a little nervous when they hire a new player and they give him term, right? Like with our other Lindholm friend, he was traded and then the next day had an 8-year contract. I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is because he's on the West Coast and I can't stay up that late. But it'll put him right at 36. And yeah, with the cap going up, the Bruins have, again, as much as it pains me to say, Don Sweeney has been doing a good job in the last couple of years with the deals, right?
I would agree with you.
Friendly.
Right. I would agree with you. And doing it while still maintaining a winning culture.
Yeah. Bringing in the right guys, maintaining that. I think that's the most important thing. And I don't see any reason why that won't continue. So, all right. Well, with that, join us again next week. We'll talk about our new defenseman, Nikita Zadorov. But until then, go Bees.
Go Bruins.
Go Bees.